Texila e-conference, I will welcome you all again. This is the conference wing of the Texila group, aspiring the individuals to participate, publish articles, and also upskill their knowledge, through these virtual conferences. So Texila e-conference has been hosting online conference in the fields of marketing and academics since its inception. The event hosted by Texila e-conference has so far attracted over 15,000 plus attendees and 300 plus keynote speakers. So Texila e-conference, in association with Texila American University, Guyana, one of the leading medical universities in South America, has successfully conducted 10 international conferences since 2014. So 3 editions were there in digital marketing and 7 editions in academic conference. So our next session will be on the topic 4 trending content strategies, strategy techniques to try in 2021. Okay, I welcome Mr. Fernando Angulo, who will be a moderator for the session, who is a senior market research manager, Semrush. Fernando Angulo is a senior market research at Semrush. He's been with Semrush since the beginning of the company's marketing efforts and also built its all-star marketing team. Fernando is speaking at 50 plus top conferences worldwide each year, and Fernando specializes in B2B marketing, search marketing, e-conference, influencer marketing, and trained marketing teams of companies such as Expedia, T-Mobile, Henry Sechin, and Bing. So I welcome all the panelists as well. So we have the panelist, Ms. Valentina Vellucci, Head of Communication, Magilla. Hi, Valentina. Hi, Fernando.
Hi. No.
Yep. So Valentina started to work in the digital marketing field in 2010. So it's a decade over. The passion for her technology and the curiosity about its impact on human relationship brought her to operate strongly in the social media marketing field, facing directly many businesses different from each other. And we also have Ms. Ashley Faus, who will be joining us virtually. I'm sorry, she's given her video message offline. So Ashley Faus is a marketer, writer, and speaker by day, and a singer and actor and fitness friend by night. Her work has been featured in Time, Forbes, the Journal of Brand Strategy and Marketing Props, and she shared the insights with audience at Harvard Business Review, Inbound, and Marketing Props. She works for Atlassian, a collaboration software maker, on a mission to unleash the power of every team. So I welcome the panelist and the moderator, and we also expect a few more panelists to join us. So
okay, we're ready to go. Can you tell us?
Yeah, hopefully we can start with the panelist.
Fantastic. So welcome everybody. Thank you for coming for joining us today to this session. There are a lot of stuff that we want to tell you about, some expertise, some insights that we'll like to share with all of you. And of course, here we have with me today Valentina. Hi, Valentina. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. And how are you?
Oh, fantastic. Actually, it's a great day to talk about content, right?
Yeah, it's really big day. And me too, I'm a bit emotional because it's my first time here with this audience. So thanks a lot for the opportunity. And I am happy to meet you people as Fernando and all people of Texila American University. So thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And Fernando, I also want to inform Mr. Harrison will be joining us anytime soon. So we can straight go forward.
Okay, perfect. So I would like to divide this session in 3 parts. So the first part, I'm going to be sharing the status quo, what is happening inside of the digital marketing, the content marketing, which is part of the digital marketing environment. What is happening with the content marketing environment? So in Semrush, we love the data. We are data lovers. So I want to share some of the insights that we can that we prepare for you and we can show today. And then we will go with Valentina's presentation. So she will be sharing her 4 tips, her 4 strategies for content marketing. And then we will go with Ashley, because I believe we have a recording that she prepared for us. And then we will go with the presentation. So 3 stages. Let's start with some data. So for doing that, I will share my screen. I prepare an interesting presentation with some data for all of you. And here, yes, this is me. I'm the senior market research at Semrush. And to talk about content marketing, we need to analyze what is happening around content marketing. And these are some trends that that are happening right now in content marketing. Actually, we measured and we track all the hashtags that are related to content marketing on Twitter. And imagine what? Most of them are coming next to digital marketing. So if anyone is talking about content marketing on Twitter, they're talking about digital marketing as well. That's number 1. Then they're talking about marketing. And in the 3rd place, they're talking about SEO. So those are the 3 main companions, let's say, to content marketing. But then you can see it's growth hacking, SMM, business, social media, and so on. But the main 3, digital marketing, marketing overall, and SEO. And what happened when we discuss about content marketing? So the main topic discussed that includes the hashtag content marketing on Twitter is strategy. So if anybody is talking about content marketing, the main topic is strategy, then SEO, then social media. So interesting, right? Strategy is the main topic discussed about content marketing. Interesting, why? So another thing here, when people are sharing their thoughts on Twitter about content marketing, they are using overall images, they are using summaries, also infographics, which are working really great for capturing audience attention. And also they are using mostly links. So if you want to share your thoughts on Twitter about content marketing, you need to use links. What else? We saw also the people that are talking more about content marketing during this year. And you can see there the 3 guys over there, 3 great professionals, Neil Schaffer, Ben Kamau Digital, and Mike Skimmer. So these 3 guys are the ones that are talking every single day about content marketing, and they are creating the insights in this industry. What happened when we go to Google? So when we go to Google, we can see that the top 20 Google search queries related to content marketing are the next ones. The first one is content marketing strategy, by far the most common one. Then you have content marketing agency. So if people want to enable their content marketing strategy, they also want to see who is offering their services on content marketing. So they are looking for agencies. And the 3rd place is content marketing examples. So they can see how they can work with. I believe today Valentina is going to be showing us some examples of that. And those are the 3 most important search queries on Google that are defining the content marketing environment. What about questions? Well, we're going to see some takeaways. So working with content marketing means that you need to work the strategy, because people are just discussing that. So businesses are trying to promote themselves through social media, which is basically the way that is more relevant these days. And of course, also companies are talking about not only content marketing, but also SEO, because they are searching that union, that formula is working very well. And of course, the information that they can get and the technology that they can get right now is more it's more important, and it's kind of more relevant for all the players around there. Something that I would like to add here is the automations and other tools are ready to use. So if you're working with content marketing, you need to use visuals, you need to use tools in order to be more relevant and to promote the stuff that you're trying to show. So now that we know that most of the people out there in social media, in the search engines, are talking about content marketing strategy, maybe that's something important to talk about. And let me go straight with Valentina, and please share us your thoughts, share us your insights on the 4 trending content marketing strategies. So go ahead, Valentina.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot for your introduction. And then I have to say that also in Italy, we use a lot Semrush. And thanks a lot, because it's a kind, how can I say, when I hear the name Semrush, I'm sure that everything will be fine. So thank you for sharing this data.
Amazing.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm going to share my my experience about content marketing and about the problem that we have to face in these days, in this new era of social media. Let me have a check for the slides. I think that now you can have just a couple of minutes, and then you can have the yes. Okay, just have a check. Okay. So what I'm going to say is it's a focus on the problem that we have in content strategy, and we're trying to solve this problem because I think that we need to solve it, because we are in a kind of new era of content strategy. We are facing how can I say, a kind of new era, because we get used to post on blog, on the business blog, or on social media in a kind of editorial plan. Okay, I have to organize the content 2 days a week, or maybe 10 times a month. But we are ready to understand that maybe something is changing, because people is not. Because people seems to have not a lot of interest about content, but they seems like to need more. What is this more? For understanding what people need, what our audience needs now, we have to try to answer to these questions. What is the best way to eat an elephant? I think I understand that this question seems to be, what kind of question? Is strange for having this question here, but just keep in mind, in your secret mind, in your small box in your mind, these questions, just put it away, and we will be back on these questions, because the answer to this question is the answer to the main question, that is, how can we face the content marketing in this new era? I think that the first, we have to understand, and we have to say that, okay, something has changed, because we are all day, every moment, focused on, okay, what is the new trend? What is the new social media? How can I do with TikTok? How can I say on Twitter? How can I do with new format of video? It's better a podcast, or it's better to make a video? Okay, it's a great challenge for us and for our clients. But if in one way, on one side, we have the social trends and the content trends, on the other way, we got the brand identity. So the problem is, how can I be focused at the same time on trend and on brand identity? Because sometimes it happens that, for example, we are going to publish on TikTok, and it's amazing, it's fun, it's fancy, it's different, but it's not the content that belongs to our core value of the brand. So what we can do for our brands? We need to stop it, and we need to think that the first step to do content is to respect the brand identity and the links, the relation that we can have from to brand and among brand and the audience. How can we do it? We can do it avoiding the overload information, too many content, too many social, too many channel. We sometimes we think that we are doing a really perfect omni-channel strategy. Instead, we are not doing an omni-channel strategy. We are only posting on social media, on all posts on our blog, the same content. It's not omni-channel, it's just overload information. No, our audience doesn't need this kind of information. Our audience needs eye-catching information, need not a lot of information, and need a relation between the stories and the brand, and the best way on me when I choose to buy that kind of brand. We have to accept that social media and algorithms cannot be the driver of our strategy. We need to accept that there is algorithm on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, but we can't say, okay, the algorithms prefer video, so it will be 1 year of video, or to this year it's working sound, so 1 year on Clubhouse. Algorithms cannot be the driver of our strategy. We need to understand that people, that relation with people is the driver, can be the driver of our strategy. How? Being on time, our content need to be relevant. We need to work on news taking. We need to work on the agenda setting of the agenda setting of our market. We need to be on time. So we need to be relevant with the daily routine of our client. So, for example, I work in a big digital agency, and we were in the last in the last months we were planning the content for the main future sporter events like the European football or the Olympic Games or the future and other future games. So we need to understand that content marketing is not the right way to have the attention of our audience if it's not relevant, if it's not on time. We can't talk only about the product, or we can talk also only about the price. We have to talk about the story, and the story need to be linked to the daily routine of and the daily interest of our audience. The other thing is that we need to understand the meaning of to be more precise, all the funny, all the entertainment content that that internet is giving us for understanding what is the mood, what is the audience, what is the sentiment of our audience to the content marketing. Is this kind of person making better or making happy my audience? We need to understand that all the news, all the product, all the content we are going to share on social media have need to have a lot of different point of view, but at first need to have a sensibility, need to have a sentiment that sometimes cannot be the same that the brand thinks that the brand like it have. For example, a lot of people is talking about the Olympic Games, but we need to but a good brand need to activate in these years for facing the content marketing, a service of listening, conversation listening service for understanding if people is happy about the Tokyo Games or feel a bit scared about what is happening. If we planning 10 content about Tokyo, and we think that this content is not working because it's not a video but it's a picture, without analyzing the context, without analyzing the thrill about audience, maybe we need to change our jobs because the content marketing is making of the feelings of our audience. The other things is that we need to understand that sometimes, and here I'm showing two different profiles about the workout 2022, and the funniest thing is that A lot of brands is publishing a lot of engaging content with a lot of soccer with the influencer and the fashion blogger, fashion styles. But no one is having a look, for example, Cartier, about the content that people is tagging with their brand. So we have a question, we have a problem. Content marketing is not only the content that we produce. Content marketing is also the content that people use for have visibility. Okay, so please have the second things to do is have a check, no overload, not a lot of content and please check where are you targeted, because this is the Cartier tab on Instagram where you can find the target photos, and it's every time this way. Okay, it's really, really strange. The other thing is that we need to talk. We need to be sensible about the agenda audience. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that we have to understand that sometimes our audience is more sensible, is more interesting, not in a big themes or in big news. Sometimes we need to ask them what is going on. We need to ask them their daily routine for building a new content strategy that create a link between their daily routine and our brand. How? We have to balance the content, because sometimes we think everything about marketing, but we are not able to think about content marketing. What is the difference? Content marketing, it's a storytelling strategy that can help not the brand to sell, but can help brand to be chosen by people because it's on the top of mind of my audience. Sometimes I think, and here is an Italian, it's an Italian case study. Sometimes it's strange because brand thinks that, okay, wow, we use a huge influencer, a big influencer, but they cannot, sometimes they forget to check what is happening during the content marketing and influencer campaign. This is a temporary shop where you can have a branded coffee with a famous influencer. But the brand forgets to check what is happening on Instagram, and no one is consuming coffee in that place. So we are trying to talk about coffee, but here is all the last content, is wine and food and some models and some other brands and competitors. So please check, because content marketing now, it's user-generated content. So I think that maybe if we offer emotional experience and technological experience, we can do better, because we can use stories, we can use swipe up, we can use this fluid content, this ephemeral content for having more relationship with our audience, because we can spend time together at the same time. So we have to understand that first things, the one of the most important thing in this new challenge, in this new era of content marketing, is not the number of content of posts that we publish, we share on social, but the most important thing is the quality time that we choose to spend together our audience. Here is a kind of example, but I wanted to bring you in one of the most important point of this talk. That's about the creation of content, not because we have to publish, but because we need that content have to be read. How? This is an example of content, a post on Instagram. It's a bag. Who cares? There's a price, description. This is content marketing, okay? This is people that share their love for the brand, share the experience. And now my last question is, what is the price? My first question is, but how happy is she? I wanted this bag. So have the difference, because there is content to publish and content to be read. And here is a small game that I hope that our audience can do later at home. It's now I show you. It's a small it's a kind of joke. I don't know if you got cats, or have you got cat or dogs? Someone? Okay, good. Okay, so when you have no pets, when you see these images, it's just what a mess, what happening. But Fernando, have you got a dog or cat?
Yes.
What kind of pet? Okay. If you see this picture, cat. Okay. If you see this picture, you feel a kind of feelings. Okay, you feel okay. Also, my sofa, it's the same way. You don't feel bad. You don't feel the mess. These are the audible stories of Akana. Akana, it's a huge, big brand for pet foods, and they decided to tell the story of the house of their clients, the pet owner, about images and about stories preview that only a pet owner can understand. So they decide to play with the polysensory content. The audible content told me about a happy pet, but the eyes tell me, okay, there's something wrong. So it's a way to divide. It's a way to have the attention of the right audience. Because I think that now it's time for a multisensory nature of the content. How? Attention, emotion, and technology. So how can we do this every day? What is our checklist for the best way to do content marketing tomorrow? I think that we have to understand that now it's not the Facebook experience or the Instagram experience or the blog experience. It's a device experience. Okay, I have this one in my hand every day. So please start to start to think about the content starting from the device. These are a lot of advertising video from promo.com. It's an agency that I really like a lot because they play with the illusion that a lot of objects go out from the screen and have your attention. Because at first we need to do a creation mobile first. This other thing is it's a particular profile it's a profile about information for what is happening to about the climate change, and they play with the touch, with the tap that we do when we try to go on another stories, because every tap you do, you can see what is happening to the resource of our planet. Okay, it's a simple way to play with the attention of our audience. Because if it's true that everything happens for a reason, one of the other points that we have to keep in mind after this talk is that relationship matter not only on LinkedIn, but in all content that we decide to produce. This is an example of an important brand in Europe. It's about perfume, and we decide to produce stories, and the word of these stories change the meanings if you can have an F or you have not the F. The F is the visual hammer of the brand. And when we decide to produce these stories and we publish it, we receive a lot of stories from people, from guys, from Zoomers that decide to tell us their stories, but with or without the F. There is no product. The products come after in the other part of the funnel. Now it's just content for awareness. One of the most important examples we have, it's about the Moderator contest. This is a right way to use TikTok, because here is not the content marketing for dancing. This is content marketing for making together a new evolution of characters. And this is a good way for use TikTok. It's not just about singing or dancing. Using Remix and Duetto for having a relationship between our client and between our audience, for having their attention, because we need to understand and we need to accept that the future generation that will have the opportunity to buy and to choose our product will not only read our content, they decide they wanted to be engaged. They really like to have a relationship with us. They really like to have a story in common with our brand. I think it's finished the time for publish a post and have a like. We have a new era of content. This new era of content, it's based on stories and on engaging content. So in my opinion, I think it's time to be authentic. So as TikTok launched a platform that is for looking for a new job like LinkedIn, but in this platform you present yourself by a spontaneous videos. It's also time for saying stop to stock images, because there's no identity, no brand. And these things, Merrill Scott told us maybe 5 or 6 years ago, because I think it is time to divorce from stock images, because we have to remember that when people have a look on the screen of their mobile phone, they have only 200 of seconds to have a first impression of the profile of the social profile. So are we sure that we wanted to use our 200 of seconds for making a huge stock images for talking about our brand? I don't think it's our best idea. At last, be augmented. My last tip is be augmented, but the reason is very simple. All the new things that Facebook or Instagram or TikTok are announcing is about an experimental narrative with the augmented reality. And it's not because we don't like our reality, but because our generation and the next generation need tools for talking about reality in a different way. It's only this thing. And if we are a brand, if we are a good brand and we want to produce good content, we have to understand and to accept that maybe in the next year, our audience will produce our content with the tools, with the brand tools that we will give to them. So I think it's time for ephemeral content. So it matters the time that we choose to spend with our audience and not the number of contents, because we have to understand that now we say that here there is the show, but maybe in the future, the show will be here because stories will have more space on our mobile, on the screen of our mobile phone. So I think that now it's time for development, content for community, content for storytelling, and content for relationship. And we have to understand that also content for community can be put on advertising, because without advertising, I don't think that we are really facing the new challenge of content marketing. So, do you remember the first question that we have together? What is the best way to eat an elephant? It's a bite at a time, slice by slice. Because I think that we need to observe the complexity of this new era of content marketing from far, for understanding that gradually, step by step, we can face this challenge with success. Because I think that choosing the right point of view, we can lead, we can play in the right league with the right content, because the right content in the future is not about how many videos, but it will be how many multisensory content can we use for having a link, for having a common relationship with our audience. And that's it. I hope to have been clear. Sorry if my English was not the best, but I really appreciate with this job. So I hope that I have been also clear.
Thank you very much, Valentina. I know it was a fantastic presentation. I really enjoyed everything, especially the part where you show that content marketing is the way that you are shortening that distance between the audience and the product or services that you are promoting, that you're offering. So it's not about only storytelling, but it's about that relationship between the user and the services of the product through content. So that is a very unique user-centric perspective of content marketing, which is in any case a great strategy to go forward. So thank you very much for the presentation. And for all the audience, if you have any questions to Valentina, this is the moment you can go forward. And my question for you, Valentina, how different is the approach from a couple of years to last year to this year? So how things has changed with this approach, because the attention is there. You have the people there connected to the internet through all the devices. Tell us your thoughts.
Yes, you're right, because it's a kind of war for attention. And my job change every year because and sometimes every month, because in the past I got a funnel marketing. I work on the high part and then go down and have the action. Now there is a really there is the messy funnel, the middle funnel, that is a messy funnel, and every time I have to accept that it's not important a linear strategy. It's important that I think every time, am I creating a content that someone decides to comment? Am I creating something for putting like, or am I creating a good story for someone? If the answer is okay, I started to work with my team. But in a couple of years ago, I just put a good photo or a good video, a short video, a description, and that's it. Now it's not working. Now we need something that works in the short time, and it's not only a catching, but can have a trigger that tell to my audience, okay, I want to say my opinion.
Fantastic. Okay. Thank you very much. Well, we don't have much time, so thank you very much. We're going to be also answering the questions a little bit later. So we have also with us today Harrison Singer, Digital Director from Mourgo Creative Solutions. Hi, Harrison. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
All great, great. Having a great time talking about our passion. So we are all into content marketing, and well, tell us your thoughts. If you have a presentation to share, or share us with us, please, your 4 main content marketing strategies.
Absolutely. So Valentina, thank you so much for that presentation. I guess I would start by just echoing a couple of the points you made, because it made my list too. One being, quality, not quantity. So many of the agencies I work with, when I start with them, they're always like, oh, we have 20 posts a month, we have to fill this queue, and we end up lowering the bar on the quality of content that's going out just to meet that quota. Whereas if we're spending more time developing quality content that's actually going to resonate with our audience, I mean, that's obviously the shortcut to having better quality content and reach and engagement. The second one that you touched on that I want to echo as well, is just being authentic. Being authentically yourself. And, part of that has to do with discovering what the brand represents, who they are, their tone and voice. That's a step that's oftentimes skipped by a lot of agencies and small boutique agencies these days. I'm personally just like a little annoyed with what's been going on in the last couple of years of every brand thinking that they need to have a position on everything that's going on in modern culture. I just don't think that's the case. If you're a cream cheese company, you don't need to weigh in on, one of these trends that are happening in the world. Just be who you are, unless, you have some direct connection to it. The other 2 things I wanted to touch on, one being personalization. We can talk all day, about best practices and trends, but the truth is different messages resonate differently with different audiences. One of my clients has about 6 million likes. We're spending about $2,000 a day on Facebook. And the one thing that the data and the analytics is telling me is that, each audience is finding different content differently. They're on different devices. They're seeing it on different screens. And so make sure that you're customizing, you're personalizing it to their experience. You can retarget, remarket to them via, custom audiences. So if they've engaged with a certain type of post before, make sure that you're optimizing your ads to deliver that same type of content. We're also able to, with a budget that big, I know not everyone has that luxury, but one of the things we're doing is we're giving an equal test to every piece of content that goes out, right? So we're able to boost just a little bit for engagement on each post to give it that jump start, right? Because Facebook especially likes to see, a high number of likes, shares, comments as soon as a piece of content hits the feed, right? That's the way you're gonna maximize your engagement and kind of trick out the edge rank to allow your content to have a chance. Organic reach is dead. I mean, we all know that. So just making sure that you're equally promoting the content to give it a fighting shot at reaching the audience that you're intending. The last thing that I wanted to bring up on my end is just riding the wave. A lot of what we do now, we use a lot of social listening tools to see what topics are trending, even what articles are trending, what memes, what videos. And if they're relevant to us, we make sure that we add a little commentary and we repost it. And you kind of ride that wave of engagement and popularity. And then that's going to help your brand. That's going to spark your engagement. And one of the things we always try to do is after we have a super engaging post, we try to follow up with one of those right hooks, using the Gary Vee terminology. After you have this crazy spike, of likes, shares, and comments, try to hit them with some kind of article or something that brings people back to your website, because Facebook's going to have a little bit of that halo effect afterwards. So those are the four. I know we have other panelists. So thank you for having me. I'll be here to answer any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you, Harrison, for sharing your thoughts. And yes, basically having a position for everything, for every situation that happened in the past, that's not the way, because you don't need to follow, well, if you're a marketer, you don't need to follow politics, religion, and be in very crisis situations that can be affecting first your brand, your reputation. Well, be yourself. That's the way that you need to go with your audience. And exactly the way that we need to follow with content marketing is, as you said, as Valentina said, be original in all the things that you are doing, and be relevant with all the techniques, strategies, and the planning that you are doing. Fantastic. Thank you very much for your thoughts as well, Harris, and really happy to see you here. And we have, I believe, another panelist. It's a recording from where panelist Ashley, if we can share that with all of us. So let's say with Ashley Faus from Atlassian. I really love their products as well. They are sharing with us. Let's go with it.
So I want to start with a little question, and that is, what is the best piece of playground equipment? Now, when I ask this question in person, I get a lot of different answers. Some people say the slides, other people say the swings. I even get a couple of sarcastic people saying the park bench. But what this tells me is that there's not really a consensus on the best piece of playground equipment. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why am I asking you about the best piece of playground equipment at a professional conference? I promise we're going to get there. But for now, let's pretend that you slid down the slide, fell off, bumped your head, and we're now in a place where we're talking about the linear funnel. Rough ride, I know, but I promise I'm going to bring it back around. At its core, it's 3 phases: awareness, consideration, and decision. And what a lot of marketers do is they whip out their editorial calendar and they say, I'm going to do 2 pieces of content per phase. That's 6 pieces of content. I'll publish once per month. I now have 6 months of content strategy. Now, I hope most of you on the other end are shaking your head saying, that's not how it works. It's way more complicated than that. And in fact, you are correct. These are the Google results for the linear funnel. And we got some complicated stuff going on here. So we know that we need a model that talks a little bit more about how people actually buy. So we came up with the looping decision journey. And at its core, it's 4 phases: awareness, consideration, purchase, and some sort of upsell, cross-sell phase that pops you back into the same funnel. So again, we whip out our editorial calendar. We're going to add 2 additional pieces of content. That's 8 pieces of content. I now have 8 months of content strategy. And of course, you're all shaking your head and saying, it's way more complicated than that. And again, you are correct. These are the Google results for the looping decision journey. And I got to tell you, the most terrifying one for me is on the lower right of the screen. It's the Mobius, right? How many of you have ever been stuck in the endless loop of sales and marketing content? It's terrifying. So I decided we needed a new model. And I got so excited because I thought I had solved it. And it's this piece of equipment. And in the United States, we call this the jungle gym. And it kind of allows you to go a few different ways. But there's one problem. And that's the fact that there's really only one objective, and that's to get to the top of the jungle gym. It's still me as a marketer forcing you as an audience member to go on the journey that I want you to go on. Which brings us back to the playground. What's the right way to play on the playground? Is it to go slides and then swing and then merry-go-round? Is it to skip the slides altogether? And what about those people sitting on the park bench? Are they using it in the wrong way? Of course not. And so we need to treat the buyer's journey as a playground. People can enter and exit as they desire, they can go in any order, and they can use content the wrong way. Now, what do we mean by using content the wrong way? Let's take pricing as an example. So pricing is traditionally considered a bottom of funnel conversation. But when my boss came to me and said, hey, we need to buy this new tool, how much budget should I ask for? I have no idea. So I start Googling around and I find the big players in the space and I reach out and ask them for a rough idea of pricing for this many seats and this service level. And they come back, oh, no. You have to download this white paper. And oh, we have to get a certain number of points, to get you into the funnel so you can talk and have a demo. And I don't even have budget yet. And so as we think about our trends, the first one is the fact that the funnel is dead. Build a playground instead. So if we're not going to map our content to a funnel, how the heck are we going to build this playground? And that brings us to some more trends. First, we're going to talk about a narrative framework, and this is based on content depths. So here, we're going to start with our conceptual depth, and this is the what and the why of the idea. And this is helping your audience think about the problem space. Next is the strategic depth. This focuses on the process, tools, and key knowledge components that must be in place to make the conceptual idea reality. And at this phase, we want to help the audience think about the solution space, not just the solution you provide, but how they could potentially solve this problem. And finally, the tactical depth. So this is prescriptive, it's step-by-step instructions, and it's specific exercises to make the strategic ideas and conceptual ideas reality. Now, some people think that I've just replaced one linear journey with another. But what you'll notice about the content depths is you have the ability to move among them. And we'll show you how in just a few minutes. Next, you need to think about your distribution. So we'll think about the asset types. It could be written, visual, audio, long form, short form. Think holistically about your asset types. Next is the channel or platform. This is your traditional mix of paid, owned, and earned channels. And it can be a place to host content and a place to share content. And finally, metrics. So reach versus engagement versus CTR. All assets and all channels do not need to accomplish all things at all time. Now, once you've gone through your narrative framework and your distribution framework, you should be able to fill out a table that looks something like this. So what does this look like in the real world? Let's take an example of what it means to be fit and healthy. Now, most of us would agree that it's some combination of diet and exercise, but you're going to answer that question very differently if you're Runner's World versus Muscle and Fitness versus Yoga Journal. So let's see how we would answer that if we were Muscle and Fitness. At a conceptual level, you would say you're healthy and fit if you have big, strong muscles and a high protein diet. At the strategic level, you might learn about good form while you're lifting or the difference between fast digesting and slow digesting proteins. And tactical is your 5 recipes for chicken dinner, 10 tips to build bigger biceps. So that's a pretty simple example, but does it translate to the business world? The answer is yes. So we use this concept of content pairing at different depths and different asset types for our Agile microsite at Atlassian. We paired long-form content about different concepts and strategies to learn about Agile and implement Agile methodologies. Then we use that as the basis of a script for short-form videos on YouTube. We cross-linked the two, and then in some cases embedded the videos directly into the articles. These were then linked all the way down to tutorials for how you could use our products for free to put these concepts into practice. I also use this concept at Duarte. So we wrote a piece at the strategic depth on LinkedIn, and then we paired it with tactical content talking about how to use humor. So we talked about, from a strategy standpoint, why humor is important in presentations. And from a tactical standpoint, we showed case studies of real-world people using humor in their speeches. So the second trend is to take a holistic approach to content and distribution. And it's not just long-form content that's changed. Social content has changed as well. So I used to work for a cloud access security broker called Polera. And before the pandemic happened, we were still going to in-person trade shows. And so we attended AWS reInvent. And so we put an Amazon tap in a locked case with a bowl of what looked like identical keys. And if you drew one of the keys and it unlocked the box, you won the tap. And then, of course, we would scan your badge at the booth. Now, being at a security conference, people were very skeptical that there were any working keys in the bowl. So every time someone won, we snapped a picture and we would post it on our company Twitter feed. And if the winner had a Twitter feed, we would also ask them if we could tag them and if they would retweet the photo. So as people came through and said, there's not even any working keys in the bowl, I was like, no, look, follow us on Twitter. You can see how often people are winning. You can see that people are winning. And so we were able to take that offline experience in the booth to our online followers on social media. Now it needs to go the other way as well. How many times have you seen people just saying, visit us at booth 123, visit us at booth 123? I'm not even at the show. You're just spamming me in the feed for a week. So instead, we created an ebook about cautionary tales that our product had helped solve. And it had a bunch of security takeaways, whether you bought our product or not. We were able to share that online and share it in the booth so that we could unite the offline and online experiences and bring the trade show to our social feed. We also used that ebook as the follow-up email to the people we had scanned at the booth. And we saw substantially higher open rates and click-through rates because all of the content tied together. We've also taken this more human connected approach with Atlassian social media handles. So for example, when we launched an update to our flagship product, Jira, we engaged PMs, PMMs, and engineers to go directly onto Twitter and address people's comments and concerns. And as you can see, people really liked it. This is a direct quote that says, I like this trend of PMs directly answering some questions, direct accountability and direct feedback. Is this you answering on your own, or is it an official thing in Atlassian? And as you can see, it's both. We have a couple of Atlassians engaging, and then you can also see that we have the Atlassian brand handle engaging as well. So that's our third trend. Social media is a two-way conversation, not a one-way broadcast channel. And finally, measurement. So a lot of marketers are obsessed with CTR. How many people clicked the link? How many people clicked on this? How many people did it refer? Click through, click through, click through. But the problem is the platforms are greedy and people are lazy. The platforms want you to stay on Twitter or on LinkedIn or on Facebook, and people want to get value from the feed. So as we think about how to measure for the way that the platforms and the people behave, we also have to think holistically. When you're thinking about video, for example, it could be views, average watch time, or subscriber growth directly on YouTube. Brand paid search talks about how your own keywords for your product or your company show up in the search results. Organic traffic, this is our standard, how many people came to our owned properties. And then finally, for unpaid social, things like follower growth or direct engagement, comments, likes in the feed. This idea that we're engaging people where they are, not just forcing them to click through to an owned property. And I love this quote from Jay Acunzo. He says, marketing is no longer about grabbing attention. It's all about holding it. Today's best marketers understand marketing isn't about who arrives, it's about who stays. And I want to share a slightly counterintuitive example from the city of Vienna. They ran a campaign saying enjoy Vienna, not hashtag Vienna. They specifically didn't want you to share on social. Instead, they wanted you to come to their tourist office and pick up an Instamax camera and take 10 physical photos for your whole trip. They curated an entire website showcasing different businesses, parks, and wineries throughout the city so that you could explore. Now, how might they measure that? If they're not going to measure hashtag impressions, they could measure visa applications. They could measure foot traffic or revenue lift to the restaurants featured on the page. They could see how many people came and picked up an Instamax camera. And so our final trend is to focus on the relationship, not the transaction. So I hope you'll join me in moving to this playground mindset. Now, of course, when you're ready to execute on these things, I would love to tell you how Jira, Trello, and Confluence can help you do just that. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to connect, you can find me at Ashley Faus on LinkedIn and Twitter.
Well, that was a great presentation. Thank you, Ashley, for that presentation. The information that we received today from all our panelists is, I can resume it with first, keep the relationship with the users, keep your strategies user-centric. So everything that you want to achieve with your content needs to be really connected in a deep relationship with your user. So main tips for today, go ahead with your planning, with your strategies, thinking on the users. User-centric strategy is working very well. Your final thoughts, Valentina? Yeah,
my final thought is that the first thing that we have to do this evening before going bed is not to be on panic, but say, okay, the next content that will be produced, it will have the next characteristic. Will I share it on my personal social? If the answer is no, it's okay. Maybe it's time for doing another way.
Fantastic. Yes,
okay.
That's the way. Yes. Your final thoughts, Harry.
Yeah, that presentation spurred a thought that, don't feel the need all the time to come up with something new. Like she was saying, you can repurpose. You can, use that YouTube video to create scripts for blogs. You can use the blogs to create scripts for other things. So, go back, find the winners that have performed well in the past and create a new version, perhaps on a different platform, and see how well it does. I'm good. Thank you.
Fantastic. So I believe that's it. We are right on time. I would like to thank our panelists today for your great talks, for presentations, for sharing your insight. Thank you for the conference organizer in Texila. This is not my first time. Hopefully this is not going to be the last time as well. We had a really great time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Harrison. And thank you, Valentina.